Hello, everybody. Thank you once again for joining me. My name is Candie Zenon. I'm an author and a life coach and CEO founder of Changing Seasons Life Coaching, where I help single moms strengthen their faith, family, and finances through coaching, mentorship, books, live events, and of course, solutions. This evening, you are joining me with the Love Call live. The Love Call is actually a telephone call that we have every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we share ways on how to refine our definition of loving ourselves. And we encourage one another to get over the hurdles that we sometimes face when we start making ourselves a priority. And this love call, this last Saturday, was how we withhold our love from the world. In past calls, we have went over how we withhold the love from ourselves, how we withhold the love from family members, and today we'll be talking about withholding our love from the world and what that looks like. So, just a couple of announcements before we start that.
Get ready! April 18th, 2020 will be a day to remember. I am the gift experience. Loving Yourself, Mind, Body, Spirit Empowerment Conference will be held at the Hilton Atlanta Marietta Hotel and Conference Center, 500 Powder Spring Street, Marietta, Georgia. This event will serve as a much-needed refuge from your busy, stressful lifestyles. You'll enjoy vendors, food, worship leaders, motivational speakers, and entertainment, all committed to our overall mission, refining the definition of self-love. Yes, ladies, it's all about numero uno, you. So grab a girlfriend and join us for this electrifying day. Renew, revitalize, refresh. See you there.
Thank you for listening to the announcements. So, withholding love from the world, and what does that look like? Once again, there's a story as to why. It may sound like I can't do this because, and whatever you say after that, because you can't do that because maybe I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I don't have enough support, or I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. You fear what people would say about you. You fear how you will look doing it. You fear how you will sound doing it. And you tell yourself, I have other things going on. I'm caring for parents. I'm caring for my children. And all those things may be true. The truth is, we make time for what we deem a priority. I wrote my first book, My Precious Wedding Gift. I wrote that in the middle of diaper changes, bottle feedings. For 9 months straight, I was committed to writing a book, all while being a single parent of 3 kids and working a full-time job. Even the publishing company was like, how in the world you had time to write a book? The truth is, I scheduled out time. I scheduled out time to write consistently. And I was persistent with the idea of that I wanted to complete a book. And I want you to identify that thing that you were called for. Number 1, ask. Just simply ask. Just say out loud, who am I? What am I called to do? What am I called to this earth to do? Just simply listen for the answer. It may come intrinsically. It may come through a commercial. It may come through an inspired idea. It may come through a person. It may come through a person that you know, and it may come through a stranger. But just simply listen. I am reminded of a story of a dentist. He said when he was about 7 years old, he went to church and a pastor was speaking about our gifts, our calling. And he simply just wanted to know what his was. So he pondered upon that. That night he prayed about it. And that night he received a dream about dental tools, teeth, dentistry. He ended up becoming a dentist. He ended up opening multiple practices. And he also traveled to Ecuador to donate his time to the people who live in Ecuador as missionary work. Yes. So he donated his time as a missionary work, but he's also a multimillionaire. He has several practices, and he loved doing what he does. Also, I'm reminded of a harpist. I believe his name is Jeff, and maybe I should have looked up his name before this video. He said that when he was younger, he received a dream of a large instrument. He did not know the name of the instrument until someone told him what that instrument was. And it was actually a harp. And since that dream, I don't know from the time span from the dream to the actual playing of the instrument, but since then, he has become a world-renowned harpist. So I want to employ you to just simply ask who am I? What am I called to this earth to do? And listen. Take an intrinsic look at yourself and just simply say, I would do this if, and just fill in the blank. So say, for instance, you're giving a call. You're told what you're called to do. You have an assignment. Now, what would stop you from fulfilling that assignment? If you had more time, if you had more money, if you had more support, what would be that thing that would stop you? Fill in the blank. So, as you know, I'm a life coach, so I like to go by steps, practical steps that we could use to get to the root of the matter. I want you to get to the root of what's holding you back. Why are you withholding your love from the world? The person here in this world is waiting on you so they can live their best life. If you are a writer, if God called a writer, he called a reader. If he called a singer, he called a listener. If he called a speaker, he called a listener. Whatever you call to do, there's an audience that's also called to you, and they're waiting for you to show up and love them. Love them by giving them your gift. So that was number 1 and 2. Number 3, who are the celebrities or influencers that you gravitate to? That would give you an idea of what you're interested in, but maybe holding yourself back from pursuing that same interest. So, and just simply identify them. Number 4, give yourself permission to start. Simply give yourself permission to start. You may tell yourself things like, oh, they have so many people out in the world already doing it. Or they have so many people, the market is already saturated. I don't need to do that. Or I could never be successful at doing that. And you spend a lot of time contemplating or finding another source of income instead of pursuing and monetizing your natural gift and talent. Or maybe you sit down to pursue it. You sit down to make an effort to write your book, make an effort to write that song, or make an effort to make that dress or that one item invention. Then you become distracted. And what does those that's a tongue twister. What does those distractions look like? They look like you sitting down to your assignment and then notice the floor needs to be vacuumed. The dishes need to be washed. Oh, you forgot to call such and such. Oh, you have to go pick up the clothes from the cleaners. That's just distractions. Or you have to go rescue some family member that maybe you have been enabling all along, and they really don't need your help. They really need for you to tell them to find another way. But you use them as much as they use you as a crutch to keep you from doing what you was called to do. And all it boils down to is fear. Fear is keeping you from doing what you're called to do because you fear what others may say or how you would look or how you will measure up. But the truth is, others may see you saying the same thing as other people, but what they resonate with is how you came to your truth, how you came to that truth. What is your pathway to that truth? They may resonate with that because they may be on that same specific journey. They don't know how to travel it. They don't know if they're going to make it. They don't know if they're going to lose hope in the middle of it. And then here you come and you say you traveled that same journey. You took that same route. And look at me. I've came to the other side. So I want you to make sure that you give yourself permission to start. Number 5, break down the bigger picture. Even though we may see things we are created in the image of God. And we see the end before the beginning. And sometimes that end picture, that final product, looks intimidating. So it stalls us from even moving forward because maybe we see multiple restaurants. Maybe we see owning franchises. And that fears us because if we are sitting here living from paycheck to paycheck, how in the world we could fathom owning franchises? But maybe that is the end picture. But I want you to hone in into the first pixel of that picture. And what does that look like? So maybe it ends with a franchise, but maybe it began with selling plate lunches from your kitchen or delivering home-cooked meals to people who worked in places of isolation. So maybe it began with you delivering your own meals to people and selling it by the plate, and you taking that money and getting a food truck, and from that food truck a restaurant, from that restaurant a franchise. So it ended with a franchise, but it began with a plate lunch. For instance, with my own story, I had once sold wigs, weave, hair, and silver jewelry. I started off by bringing wigs to my job and letting my coworkers try on wigs. Then I started selling the wigs and a weave out of the trunk of my car. Then I started having people get together, get their friends together, and I would bring my products to their home with my credit card machine, and I would have what they call pop-up parties. I would set up everything and allow the people to shop at their friend's home, and before I left their home, I booked several other parties. So it began with me bringing wigs to my job. Then I started working on my own working on my home, but I was delivering wigs and weaves to people, selling it out of the trunk of my car. Then I started parties. So I just wanted to say this. Every end picture, every final picture, every masterpiece started with one stroke. And just give yourself permission to start that stroke. Just break down that bigger picture. Identify where is your start. And looking at those stars or those celebrities that's doing what you desire to do, read their bio. Listen to their interviews. See where they went to school at. See who mentored them. What was their pathway to their success? And identify ways that you can start in that manner. Maybe with education or certification or mentorship or shadowing. But this is allowing you to take steps towards that goal. And speaking of education, because that's one of the things that stop us too, when we think that we have to get more education or more certification. I just want to say start. And along the way, if it take you going to more classes or going to more school, going back to school or getting more schooling, do that. But there's something that you can do in that field that you can start somewhere. For instance, if you want to be an attorney, can't see yourself going to school right now to be an attorney for whatever reason. Well, why not start maybe as a secretary at a law office? From a secretary, a paralegal. From a paralegal, start law school. And then eventually become an attorney. So start somewhere. Did I beat that horse? Beat that horse. Okay. So I just really want you to know that there are people that can help you see what you can't see. And they're life coaches. They help come with new ideas, new solutions, fresh ideas that maybe you may know about but never seen it for yourself, and help you co-create a plan for your life to move from where you are to where you desire to be. So I employ you to hire somebody to help you get to where you desire to be. And I really feel that if you have not done it thus far, that you will not do it, right? Because you have nobody holding you accountable. But if you have somebody encouraging you, motivating you, and holding you accountable, you'll keep pushing for the new goal. And you'll keep pushing towards that final goal. So just know that you cannot solve solutions. Solve on the same level of thinking. You can't solve a problem on the same level of thinking. You need solutions. And if you have not done it thus far, guess what? You won't do it. Because you'll binge watch another TV series. You're going to play that game. You're going to go to your favorite restaurant. Guess what? There's going to be another wedding, a wedding shower, baby sip and see. Whatever it is, life is going to keep going and going and going, and that clock going to keep ticking and ticking and ticking. And before you know it, time has passed by, more time than you wanted to allow. And I know life happens, and I'm not trying to say like, hey, I don't know that life happens for everybody. I'm on the journey just as much as you are. But I know that there are tools, there are mentors, there are people that I can pull and say, hey, I want to reach this goal. Can you help me? And if you don't trust yourself to get to that goal, I want to implore you to pull on somebody to help you get to the goal, because somebody's waiting on you. So, once again, I thank you for joining me. My desire is to serve the heart of God by encouraging the hearts of his people. And this was withholding love from the world. And I don't want you to withhold your love from the world. I want you to also come out and celebrate with me Love Fest, a celebration at the I Am the Gift empowerment meeting, loving yourself, mind, body, and spirit, here in Atlanta, Georgia, on April 18th at 10 a.m. in the morning. And once again, I want to thank you for joining me to help you love through it, learn from it, and live after it. Until we see each other again. Good night. Oh, I thought I was taking a picture. Okay, let me delete it.
Yeah, just